Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hockey Night on Broad Fire's pregame show. Tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Ottawa Senators as they meet up for the second of three meetings this year, this time at Wells Fargo Center. A pleasure, good evening, everybody. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you, and joining me tonight on this very important program is Austin Hammel. Austin, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here. I'm very excited to talk about this game. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot to get to, obviously. So the Flyers, like I said, looked like they were struggling a little bit the last couple games and the first couple games of the weekend. Obviously, the first one against Seattle didn't go the way we expected to go, and also the other matinee game too was a really disappointment too. But let's get into before we get into our key matchups and everything included about in this game here tonight. I want to get your take on this is basically the recap of the trade deadline that the Flyers made over the week. Obviously, you saw Scott Laughton go to Toronto, Andrei Kuzmenko going to the Kings, and got some good draft picks back in between. So my first question to you, Austin, is that what was your immediate reaction when you heard about these picks happening? I guess the question I'll ask you more importantly is what was your immediate reaction with this?
Honestly, the main reaction that I had from it was it sucks to see Scott Laughton go. He's been such a consistent player in the lineup for Philadelphia, and
yeah.
I know he's going to do well in Toronto because they definitely do need the help at center with the injuries that they've been dealing with all year long. But it sucks to see that kind of a guy go.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that especially he was an alternate captain for a couple years, and also trying to work in the wing of obviously Sean Couturier and even Claude Giroux, and even the list goes on and on about that. But they got so many great draft picks in between, and I mean they're going to be stacked with that for quite a while. I mean, the thing I was really impressed about too, and I'll ask you too, is that just to see how many picks they had in this draft pick for the next couple years. I mean, Danny Briere did an admirable job of just doing whatever he can to get these draft picks and try to build up for the future too.
Yeah, more than anything, getting the draft capital back, not only in those, but also in the trade that saw, what was it, Morgan Frost and I think it was Joel Farabee go to Calgary.
Yep.
The draft haul that you got back for that too. All these trades have definitely setting the Flyers up for refilling the pipeline for the next couple of years.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, that makes it even more great about it is that, they're going to be stacked in the next couple of years or so, because I think probably either maybe in 2026 or 2027, they'll make that move to the postseason. Obviously, this year will be a little bit far-fetched, but, that's going to be the part of the business is that even when a team has been bad for a long time, I guess you got to accept the fact that it's going to take a long time to rebuild this team. And Danny Briere's doing a great job with that, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the guys that are in place in the lineup right now, TK's still here, Couturier's still around. You still have a couple of very, very solid linchpin guys to help sort of build this young team going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And so the last question I'll ask you about the trade deadline, obviously, was there a move that you thought that was actually kind of a shock to Kuzmenko probably moving, obviously, or maybe Scott Laughton, or was it ever a shock that you saw these players go, or was it just me?
I mean, in terms of the moves that the Flyers made, I feel like the Laughton move was the most surprising. I mean, Kuzmenko, I knew we were going to end up getting a good drawback from when we moved him on. Sure. I think the most surprising move overall from the deadline for me was Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers.
Yeah,
that one, a buddy of mine and I were talking for probably about an hour leading up to the end of the deadline, and we both popped off significantly when that news came down the pipeline.
Yeah,
it was insane.
Yeah, that was that's the other thing too. I mean, there was a lot of trade pieces going elsewhere. Obviously, the Brad Marchand one was the one that was really a shocker too, because obviously the team that he played against the Bruins, obviously, and the team that he lost to was the Panthers, and now it makes the Panthers even more expandable and also make them even more as probably a better team as they were last year, too.
Yeah, it definitely makes them a significant threat going into the end of the season and the beginning of the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into our key matchups of this game here tonight. So, like I mentioned early on, the Flyers take on the Senators for the second time with three meetings. The next time the Flyers will play Ottawa will be probably towards the end of the season, but this is the second game of that. I think the second game, the first one was in Ottawa, but Senators actually did a good portion of their show. Actually, came out and got some players in the draft. I'm not in the draft. Got some players in the trade deadline too. So my question to you is, so what is going to be the key in this game here tonight to see, like, how can the Flyers get off this losing streak after having a real fair share of like disappointing games the last couple games?
I feel like the main key for Philadelphia is going to be trying to lock down that top line of Stützle, Tkachuk, Batherson. Those guys have been dangerous all year long. 65 points total from Stützle, 50 from Tkachuk, 49 from Batherson. Those guys have been putting together a hell of a season together, and the more that you can contain them, the better off you're going to be. And I mean, it's not even just the top line for Ottawa, though. If you look up and down this whole roster, Jake Sanderson, Josh Norris, Thomas Chabot at defense, even Claude Giroux. I'm pretty sure he's a third line guy now.
Something like that.
He's still just as dangerous as he was during his time in Philadelphia. We know exactly what he's capable of. Brady Tkachuk is one of those guys. Not only is he a good goal scorer, but he can also really be a pest sometimes. So you have to be able to keep that kind of stuff under control.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got some comments here because we can check them out. I think there's an Adrian guy that I guess we very well, or there's somebody.
Not anyone that I know, but someone probably just came across us on YouTube.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in, buddy. Appreciate it. And also, so someone says like Snowman Multimedia says somebody say hockey, and it's all question marks. Yeah, do that hockey, right?
It's hockey night, baby.
Yeah, it's a hockey night. Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, for the key matchups for me in this game, like you brought up, obviously the Senators coming into this game here tonight. Obviously, I didn't know how good they were until I saw like they were like, wow, actually they're actually close to being in postseason contention. I mean, you think about it, all the players they had, like the Stützles and the Thomas Chabot, even Claude Giroux, and even Brady Tkachuk, who's been very well for them, played for them too. And even they got Dylan Cousins in the trade from Buffalo, and that was one guy I was like saying to myself, maybe the Flyers should look after him to see what he has in store. But it's going to be a real tall task here, and even they have a good goaltender, and Linus Ullmark, who frankly was another Bruin that went away, just like Marchand. And I think the other thing too is that if the Flyers can just do whatever they can here in this game here tonight, is they can just try to just make sure whatever you can to just ignore the last couple games and just come back on a high note here tonight. And I think that's going to be the biggest key in this game here tonight, Austin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially when you go back and you look at the way the game went in the previous meeting between the two teams, they sort of traded blows throughout the entire game. And then when it came to overtime, we just managed to get a good run by Michkov into the offensive zone to get a good shot on and be able to get that win 5-4. So
yeah,
it's going to be about finding your spots, taking your opportunities when they come to you. Ottawa is, like you said, they're in the middle of a real dogfight for a playoff spot. Philadelphia could definitely sort of at least put a damper on their hopes for tonight with a big win coming into this. It also, aside from that, sets up, for going on, you're trying to break a 3-game losing streak, and this team's coming in riding a 3-game win streak. You want to be able to try and put that to an end and get yourselves back on the right foot going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and that's the perfect way I would describe it too, is because you think about the last 3 games, they haven't been playing very well. I was kind of concerned about how Sam Ersson has been playing. Obviously, you think about what he's been playing ever since that Four Nations face-off, and I kind of felt like it was like fatigue. I don't know if it's probably the same for everybody else, but I think what you need to do more than anything too is that if the Flyers want to get back on track, the goaltender has to come first more than anything to try to make sure that if you want to end this losing streak here tonight, you got to start winning games now because the season's ending before you know it.
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, I thought that the trade deadline was like the 12th or the 13th. So when I saw the trade deadline stuff happening, I went, oh crap, this is moving a lot faster than I thought. So
yeah, right.
It's definitely been that kind of season, like a blink and you miss it kind of year for hockey this year. And it's been,
for sure.
I mean, Ersson, like you were talking about initially, Ersson has definitely had a bit of a tough time coming out of the Four Nations face-off. I mean, overall, his stats still aren't too bad, but you definitely do want to be able to try and solidify at least in front of him, because we know that he is a decent talent between the pipes. So whatever you can do to be able to help him out and, limit the amount of shots that he sees on a nightly basis to be able to give him a better chance to get those wins is going to be big.
Yeah, definitely. No question about it. Okay, let's get into this is a topic that I usually kind of like ponder on is like who's trending up and who's trending down. So maybe we can go around the national and see who's trending up in a positive direction or maybe who's trending down in a negative situation. But let me ask you, for the Flyers' sake, I mean, who's like in your opinion, like who's going to be trending up in a positive direction in this game here tonight?
Honestly, I would like to think that Travis Konechny starts to see a bit of an upturn. His career numbers against Ottawa, especially at home, are actually very decent. 33 total games played, 10 goals, 26 assists, only a -1, which is great. 74 total shots, averaging about 20 minutes of ice time. You want to be able to get him going as often as you can, him and Michkov as well, because those two guys are pretty much the key to your offense along with Owen Tippett. So if you can get those guys going and get them, confident early on in the game and get them to be able to really start making an impact as quickly as possible to put yourself ahead, it's going to definitely help the situation going on throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, the thing that I want to see in this trending up is like I would love to see Travis Konechny get back on track. Obviously, it's been a rough couple months ever since we brought up that Four Nations face-off and like playing here and there. And obviously, didn't play very much in that Four Nations, but yeah, I mean, I think just seeing him probably trend up in a positive direction, and also Michkov has just been on fire as of lately. I mean, I never would have expected him to be really good this early on in the season. I mean, he's probably. I mean, if he's not the rookie of the year, I mean, there's something wrong with the NHL because he's just playing outstanding hockey right now, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Michkov has been lightning in a bottle for Philadelphia. The 27 assists to go along with the 20 goals just goes to show you that not only is he, a really good hockey IQ guy in terms of a shooter, but he also has a good eye for the ice on the offensive end as well. And he's definitely been proving that this year. And just like you said, if he doesn't end up winning Rookie of the Year, someone else had to have been
better,
way better, like miles better.
Exactly.
Honestly, because Michkov has been sensational this entire year.
Yeah, no question about it. Maybe this is probably a topic I'll probably save for another day, but I guess we could talk about it now because, I mean, I was trying to think about who's trending down in this kind of thing because obviously sometimes I feel like, okay, maybe it's the goaltender situation or maybe it's probably John Tortorella's inconsistency with timeouts. Like, I mean, me and my buddy Joey talk about it on the post game that usually what happened with Peter Laviolette during the years, like when the team was starting to fold a little bit, he took a timeout and also let the team recharge a little bit. So, I mean, is there anybody going to be trending down in a negative situation if there were anybody is trending down for the Flyers? I mean, if you have any, I mean, by all means.
I mean, honestly, I feel like the main guy that we're probably going to start seeing a bit of a downtrend on, in my opinion, is probably going to be either one of what was it? God, where was the other name? Honestly, either Bobby Brink or Jamie Drysdale. And those are both key spots, being a winger or being a defender. Those are two key spots, especially because of the fact that Farabee does, for at least for a little while, did see some time on the power play unit to be able to, he's been trying a lot to get himself going. The numbers just aren't there this year. 8 goals, right. 11 assists, averaging about 15 minutes of ice time. I mean, he's been seeded for a bunch of games. He's been scratched for a lot this year as Tortorella's trying to figure out what's going on with some of these younger guys. But I just feel like if Farabee can't get it going now, he might not be able to for the rest of the year, and it's going to be a low production season from him. Same thing with Drysdale. I mean, it's not mainly about the goals and assists for him. He's averaging about 20 minutes of ice time per game, but he has his plus minus is a -19, and right. We brought him in because we saw the defensive prowess that he has, and he's definitely not been showing it.
Absolutely.
But hopefully, a game against a staunch offense like an Ottawa Senators type of team, I feel like if he can have a good game against them, it'll start to turn him the right way, but I just don't see it happening. It's been a really rough year for Drysdale this season. I mean, that's not really saying much because it's been a bit of a rough year for a vast majority of players on this team, but it's one of those situations where you're looking like I'm sort of looking at it from a bit further out because I haven't really been paying attention as much as I used to.
Sure.
But Drysdale is you can just tell from how he's been playing. He's been having a very off year.
Yeah, and you could see it too. I guess there's probably an injury or something, and that's a very good point by Bobby Brink because obviously I want to see him play very very well too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean that's the other thing about it. It's just there's a couple players on this trending down topic. It's just yeah, there's the Drysdale thing is actually really it's a very good point, like you said too, because he's one guy that we brought in from Connor Gauthier, and I thought he would be a lot better than he once was. And seeing him play a little bit inconsistency, is a little bit of a factor. I guess the thing too is that maybe he's nursing an injury that's not diagnosed yet. But I think the other thing that too is just that, I mean, for me, I guess it's just for who's trending down is that those two players, if you want to make a postseason push, I mean, they got to step it up probably now more than ever.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, and I personally like to hope that it's not a lingering injury with Drysdale, especially because with a lot of defensemen, if it's something with the feet or the legs, it's a lot tougher to come back from because of how often you're playing essentially on your heels. But I also don't want it to be more of a yips kind of thing.
Sure.
Where he's just for some reason isn't seeing everything the way he's supposed to, and it's starting to affect his game because he is a very decent talent. We wouldn't have traded Cutter Gauthier to get him if we didn't see something in him that we felt that we needed. And to have the production be as low as it is, even though, most of the time your second pair, third pair defensemen aren't expected to be points guys. They're more expected to be the grit, grinded out kind of defenseman.
Yeah.
You're not even seeing that. And that's
right.
I feel like it's more like he might be a bit gun shy on trying to engage in some aspects of his play.
Mm-hmm.
So you really hope that he can figure out whatever the issue is. So that way it's not, causing more issues further down the line, especially going into next year too.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, let's get into our injury report for this game here tonight. So just a couple injuries on this night, obviously. The one that's a healthy scratch in this game tonight is that Yegor Zamora is a healthy scratch for this game. So I expect probably one of the, Emil Andres or probably somebody else that's going to be in the place of him. And the only injury that's still been basically nursing for the last couple of weeks now is Garnett Hathaway still dealing with that concussion that he had back early on in the, I guess the game against the Penguins when he got taken out of the game by a dirty hit that he should have been kicked out of the game, plain and simple. But but I mean, like I said, the only injury in this game here tonight is like I said, Garnett Hathaway, and Zamora is going to be a healthy scratch for this game here tonight too.
Okay, yeah, and I do see on the injury report here that Hamonic is still out for Ottawa. And former Flyer Nick Cousins is still on the long-term IR. His expected return date is, from what they're saying here, April 1st is when they're going to do a sort of a recheck on him, see how everything's coming along.
Gotcha. I didn't even know he was still playing good, man.
Yeah, honestly, I'm assuming it's been like a season-long thing, so it's more than likely we won't see him come playoff time unless the progression has been very good.
Sure, yeah.
But the Hathaway injury, in my opinion, definitely sucks because he's one of those grit fourth line guys that you kind of want to have out there to be able to get you a good spark every once in a while. And I mean, I understand the idea behind scratching Zamula, but he's one of those guys, especially for the penalty kill. He was very solid last year. He's had his hiccups throughout this season, but I understand, maybe give him the night off. He's probably been putting a lot of extra work in, and he's probably getting kind of sore. So you want to give him a night or two to sort of recover himself a little bit. But this is that kind of game where if you can catch Ottawa in a lot of trouble, you can definitely take a lot of those opportunities and really capitalize on them.
Yeah, no question. I agree. That's the most important thing too. And I think for the injury report too, like you said with Hathaway, that big piece that they have, obviously, I think something that has to be easier said than done. Obviously, hopefully he'll be back very, very soon. I mean, you think about it, we lost another fourth liner towards the beginning of the season with Ryan Poehling, and now losing Garnett Hathaway. It's you can't catch a break, and I mean, not a good way to start off. Not a good way to begin the night, but hopefully Hathaway will be. Hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later. All right, let's just get into our goaltender matchup for this game tonight. So in goal tonight for the Flyers, it'll be Ivan Fedotov. I would expect will be in goal here tonight for the Flyers because we finally see Fedotov in goal. Hopefully it'll be a better outing. His record this season is 5-10-3 and a goals against average of .02, and it'll be opposed by Anton Forsberg on this night. So he has a record similar to Fedotov, but only has 2 more wins, and that is a 7-10-1 record, and has a goals against average of 2.76. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm definitely hoping that Fedotov can get the vision that he needs to be able to start piling some wins together, because he's definitely had a really, really rough year, and to be able to get a decent game against a team like an Ottawa with the offensive capabilities that they have is going to be good for his confidence going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing too is, Fedotov probably has to find a way. I mean, if you want to try to make yourself into like that goaltender, obviously if Erson starts to fade, I mean, you still got Kolosov in the wing, but I think he got sent down before the weekend began. So
yeah,
so it'll be something to keep a close eye on, especially tonight and into basically Thursday night too, when the Flyers take on Tampa too. So it'll be something to keep a close eye on. And I'm not looking forward to that matchup.
No, not at all.
All right, let's get into our predictions in this game. This is the final wrap up of our pregame show tonight. So, how do you see the Flyers do tonight, Austin?
I definitely don't see this being as high scoring an affair as the last matchup was. I have it probably, I want to say at best being a 3-2 game, but I have it going Ottawa's way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, if I really thought Ottawa was I thought it was because all these years I would think like Ottawa would be like a bad team and all that, but making them one step closer to a postseason push, I'm thinking they're doing something right over there. So
Ottawa very quietly over the past couple of years has built themselves up for some decent success.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
most eyes when it comes to Canada, they're all turning to Toronto right now when it comes to the hockey. So Ottawa's just been like, okay, we're just going to sit over here under this entire radar that you guys have set up, and we're just going to start building.
Yeah, like they basically got put in the corner, and then because Toronto was the big team. It's the same thing with Montreal too. I mean, nobody's giving Montreal a chance, but yeah. I mean, for me, the predictions in this game here tonight, I just want to see a game that actually feels like it's fun to watch again, because I haven't seen that probably in a couple weeks. I mean, obviously the Seattle game, I thought it was like, oh, they got a 1-0 lead, so they finally get back on track, and then like Erson started to crap the bed, and then the next game, I didn't even see the game on Sunday. Daylight savings time took a toll on me, and I guess
it's been doing the same to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that I didn't even know they played on Sunday. I was like, oh my God, I got to do a pregame. But I said, you know what? If I miss a pregame, that's not going to be the end of the world. But yeah, but for me as well, like I said, I hope for the Flyers have a better game here tonight. Obviously, Ottawa's coming into this game looking to try to make a postseason push. And if they can win here tonight, that'll be great. And also, like I said, they got Tampa Bay on Thursday night, and I forget who they play on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. If we could double check your.
Yeah, let me take a quick look.
Yeah, we got time to kill.
Look down here. Yeah, Thursday is Tampa Bay. Saturday is Carolina.
Oh God, talk about it.
And then down in Tampa to play the Lightning on Monday.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's the gauntlet.
Yeah, right. It is a gauntlet. All right. That's going to wrap up our portion of the Hockey Night on Broad Forest pregame show here tonight. I want to thank once again Austin Hammel for joining me tonight, man. Always a pleasure, my friend. I always. I mean, you can always check out. I mean, if you may, where can we see you next?
Most of the time it's over on my personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Hambo26, playing a bunch of random video games with a bunch of my friends and stuff. Nice. Aside from that, every Saturday afternoon between 12, usually start time is between 12 and 1 p.m. On the Hardcore Play and Rewind channel. I myself, along with are the hosts of the Hardcore Play podcast. And then also, whenever the videos get put up on there, we do a hardcore Diablo 4 challenge where we're trying to reach max level 100. I've already lost 2 characters in the run. One was level 6 because somebody donated 2,000 bits. They literally asked me, how much would it cost for you to kill your character right now? I went, 2,000 bits. He sent me a screenshot of the cheer sitting in his chat board. He went, just say the word. I was like, I already did. Yeah. All you have to do now is hit send. The second he did it, I just walked up to 2 wolves. I was like, take me, Mother Nature.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Oh, it's been so fun. It's been
yeah,
so
man.
fun.
Yeah, man. But before we go, remember to stay tuned after the game for tonight's post game with the Third Line Joint post game show with myself and Joey Marks. Got you covered for this game here tonight, and I think we got it covered either on Thursday or Friday. I'm sorry, not Friday, Saturday too. So we got a lot to cover here on this very important program, and also Stream Punk Entertainment. Now, for everyone behind the scenes and for everybody that made it work here for Austin Hammel, I'm James Scorza here, and this has been Hockey Night on Broad. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you.